Sup, my peeps? Today's Algebra Nation video will be on workbook page 82 problem. You got it, square root 100, baby.
Hi everybody, let's just jump right into this practice problem. Find the vertices, fun word, of the solution to the system of linear inequalities. Alright, so I have 1, 2, 3 different inequalities I need to graph on this little graph. That's okay, we can do it, it's not so bad. So, let's look at it, let's dive right in. I have y is less than or equal to 4x plus 1, y is greater than or equal to negative 4x plus 1, x is less than or equal to 3. You know what, just for fun, because math is so fun, I know, what we're going to do is I'm going to actually change this into something else. I'm going to change this into y is less than or equal to 2x. Why don't you do that for me? Y is less than or equal to 2x plus 1. And I'm also going to change this to y is greater than or equal to negative 2x plus 1. I'm going to change that because that 4 looked a little big to me for this graph. So I'm going to just change those numbers, all right? It will still, everything you see in this video will still work with those numbers. So I just wanted to change it to y is less than or equal to 2x plus 1, y is greater than or equal to negative 2x plus 1, all right? That last one, we'll let it stay the same. Now, if you want to do the original problem, that 4x problem, afterwards on another sheet of graph paper, go ahead, go do it, okay? That's actually a good check to see if you understood this problem. That being said, let's just jump right in. So this is equation or inequality number 1. This is inequality number 2. I'm going to use a different color because it helps me organize it, especially when there's going to be 3 graphs on one little axis, right? And this is going to be 3 in green. I'm just going to start off by remembering that I need to graph. And when I graph, I need to have 2 things. I need to have the slope, and I need to have a point. Ideally, in an ideal world, it would be great if that point was the y-intercept. That's a special point that crosses the y-axis, right? Now, all right, I'm going to look at this, and I'm realizing that this problem is not as tough as it looked at first. The good thing is they already solved for y. They already have y by itself for numbers 1 and 2, for inequalities numbering 1 and 2. What's so great about that is, if you remember, there's a slope-intercept form that looks like this. It's on your handy-dandy reference sheet. And that actually tells us that the slope is always next to the x. It's the coefficient of x, right? It's right here. That is the slope. I'm going to draw a box, actually. That's a slope. The y-intercept, that special point that crosses the y-axis, is always by itself, also known as the constant, all right? It's just that number by itself right here. Now, this 1 and 2 looks a lot like this. Y is by itself, it has the x, it has constants. The only difference is that this is an equal sign and that's an inequality. That is A-okay. It's the exact same thing. It's just when we graph, we have to pay more attention to that inequality. That's it. We still need the slope, we still need a y-intercept. Now, let's jump right in. I'm going to see number 1. My slope is, we know when we graph it's called rise over run. It's equal to 2 because that's the coefficient of x. It's the number next to x. So it's 2 over, it's not a fraction. Can I change it to a fraction? Oh, yes, you can. Just put over 1. There we go. I have the slope. It also tells me the y-intercept. The y-intercept is the number by itself. The constant, the number by itself, is that number 1. We could just write b equals 1, or we can actually write out the point. The point is 0, 1, because it's when x is 0, y is 1. That's where it crosses the y-axis. All right, that's just another way to write the y-intercept. Let's try number 2. The second equation, the second inequality. Same idea here. Identify the slope. Find the y-intercept. Slope is rise over run. Rise is negative 2 over, it's not a fraction, make it a fraction by putting it over 1. There you go. Y-intercept, y-intercept is still 1, or 0, 1. Last one, 3. I'm going to have that in green. 3 looks a little strange. I don't see a y at all. There's no y whatsoever. what that means, if you ever see an x equals or x less than equal to, greater than or equal to, x less than, x greater than, with no y at all, no y to be seen, that means it's going to be a vertical line, a line that goes up and down. And it's going to be, it tells you it's a vertical line at 3. So when x is 3, so x is 3, and it's going to start at 3, 3, 0. But it's going to go all the way up and down at starting at 3, 0. All right, it's a vertical line at 3. Now, let's just graph the first line first, the first inequality first. I always begin at the y-intercept. I begin at B. My y-intercept is 0, 1, so 0, 1's right here. That's where it crosses the y-axis. And now I'm going to know how to move. I have to figure out how to move from that beginning point by looking at the slope, by looking at m. M tells me how to move. It says rise 2, then run 1. It's like a set of directions. First you rise 2, then you run 1. So let's do it. From this beginning point, I'm going to rise 2, 1, 2, and I'm going to run 1. Rise 2, run 1. Rise 2, run 1. All right? I could go the other way as well, but I have to do everything opposite since I'm moving in the opposite direction. I could go down 2, and I have to go over 1 to the left. Down 2, over 1. Down 2, over 1. If you did this correctly, you should see that these points make a straight line. Now I'm going to grab my handy dandy sheet of paper, and I'm going to use it as a ruler, all right? The only thing is, look at your inequality. That's less than or equal to. That equal to makes you know. It's like, hey, watch out, there's an equal to. That's a solid line that you need to make. So I'm going to make sure to connect all those points I just made with an equal solid line. There we go. And if you remember, it was less than. So it has to be underneath the line. All right? It has to be below the line. If you're not sure if this is below or...
Your parents are here to get you, please report to the front office.
This is below. Here's a little trick. Write your name on the line. What's below my name? That's easy. This spot. I'm going to try to do this neatly because I know, I'm planning ahead, I know I have 3 different inequalities to graph on this one little teeny graph. So I'm going to make sure that I'm neat. Otherwise, I might get confused. I'm going to label this. This is line 1. This is line 1. Let's try line 2. It's the same idea.
Let's try a brain break first. But I don't want you to try this on the EOC. This would not be worthy of a 399. Don't do this on the EOC. You'll be taking algebra again next year.
Yeah. I begin at 1, 0, 1. Oh, same point here. And my move, my slope, is rise -2, run 1. So this time, since it's rising a negative, that means I'm going to go down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. If I wanted to go in the opposite direction, I have to do everything opposite. So I have to go up 2 and then back 1. Up 2, back 1. Up 2, back 1. I did it correctly because I know I have a nice straight line. And I'm going to look at my inequality symbol again. That is a greater than or equal to sign. So that equal to shows me, hey, make that a solid line. Right here, solid line. And it is greater than, so it has to be above my line. If you're not sure, again, here's a trick. Write your name on the line. All right? What's above my name? Well, that's easier to see now. I have neatly shade in that point. All right, so I shaded everything in. My last step is x is less than or equal to 3. I know if I ever have x by itself like that, there's no y to be seen anywhere. It's going to be a vertical line. Let's just start at 3, 0. 1, 2, 3. 3 zeros right there, it's going to be a vertical line. That means it goes straight up and down. And it's equal to, so you still know it's solid. So I'm going to do that right now. 1, 2, 3. Right there. All right. And it says less than or equal to. Less than or equal to means to the left of this line. Because as you go left of this line, your numbers are getting smaller and smaller, right? If it's greater than, you go to the right. This is bigger and bigger. But this time it says less than, so I'm going to go to the left. And I'm going to shade like this. Right here. Now, let's make sure we actually answer the question that's being given. It's asking, find the vertices of the solution. The solution is where all three inequalities overlap, where they meet. Now, if I look over here, for example, I know this can't be a solution because that's only where 3 inequality, the third inequality, meets. That third inequality is green, that's it. That can't be it. It also can't be this side because that's just red and blue. That's just inequalities number 1 and 2. I need all 3 inequalities, all 3 colors, for that to be a solution. If you look closely, the space that is a solution is a triangle right here. This is where you see all 3 colors. And I'm going to actually shade it in so you can see a little better. That's the place where you see all 3. It's asking for the vertices. The vertices are where 2 lines meet, 2 line segments meet. So where does this meet? Well, that's a point that meets. So that is 0, 1. Here's another point where they meet. So that is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 3, 7 is another vertex. 1 vertex, 3 vertices. So fun. All right. So the third one is right here. I have 1, 2, 3, still positive 3, but now it's on the other side. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 3, negative 5 are my vertices. So these are the vertices of my solution